Good evening, you handsome lot. Well, remember this Nissan Navara that I serviced, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I went through the vehicle with a fine tooth comb and I found a little bit of a fault with the EGR cooler. And if you're wondering what was in the box, it is in fact the EGR cooler. And I'll show you now what had failed on it. You see the EGR cooler bypass flap. The plastic arm here has snapped. And the butterfly inside, whether it's seized on the shaft or inside, I don't know. But I explained to the customer and he was like, Baz, just get it sorted. And that is what we're going to be doing this morning. Now, because this vehicle has been lifted up and it's on massive tyres, it is kind of high for me to gain a little bit of access into the engine. So what we've done, we've taken the valve cores out the valves and let them tyres down. So we've got a little bit more access. Well, now we've got a little bit of better access. I'm going to be honest, I've never, ever done one of these before, so we are going to be doing this together and working it out. Let's flip the camera around, let's have a little look-a-rooney, see what we got going on here. Obviously the EGR cooler is just by here. I'm going to have to remove this heat cover, intake pipe. Yeah, see what's going on, I think. Let's have a little look. Let's get these pipes out of the way first. We've moved them pipes around. Rather than take it off the intercooler, we're just going to swing it round and also the intake onto the turbo. I've also removed the upstream pressure sensor, which we are going to be checking before we put it all back together, because if it's blocked, we can unblock it while it's all apart, if that makes sense. Right, I don't think there's much of a job to do, to be honest. We've got a little look now. Just remove this plug off this intake motor, whatever it is, EGR motor, I don't really know. Yeah, that's the EGR valve. That's the EGR valve, and that's the cooler. We're going to remove this heat shield now, and I think we're going to have to remove the coolant pipes as well. With a little bit of past experience with these Japanese stuff, what I've done, I've started off with the exhaust side of things, because I've had them before now, especially on the Nissans, when I've done work to them before now. The bolts going in the manifold, they can either pull the threads or they can snap. So I've started there first. We've removed the two of them, and what I've done is use a little bit of Launch Power Lube Plus, left them soak for 5 minutes, and thankfully they have come out rather easily. But it's not much to do really. We've got to remove this pipe now, and then there's a couple of bolts, then we can lift it off, I think. Well, you know it means business when the glasses are off. Simple reason being because it would do my head in, and I tell you what, one little bolt. That one there, you think, oh yeah, it's only one bolt. No. Going to remove this heat shield, which goes over the turbo here, just to get it underneath. But I couldn't get the heat shield off because the upstream pressure pipe was in the way, and I tried to undo the banjo, and the banjo's going to snap, so we're not getting involved in that. And I don't like doing it, but it's a case of having to. I've had to just bend that pipe up. Luckily enough, it will bend back down and we can get it back into place. We've got it now loose. I'm just going to undo these two here and this coolant pipe, and that is completely off. Everything now is undone, thank God. Now the coolant pipe here, rather than have it dangling down and spilling fluid everywhere, what I've done, just put a little bit of a cable tie around it, and that is keeping it up beautifully. Right, everything's undone. We can go ahead now, I think, and pull that off. Try and not get any bits anywhere. Plonk it in there. Let me just drop it down. Oh, Christ, that was a bit too quick. We can have a little look now. Can you see that there? It's snapped. And that there is seized solid. I can't even budge it. Can't even budge it. Now, before we go ahead, and well, from last night's video, if you can still see, the mince pies are still there. So I'll be having one of them shortly with a little bit of a brew. Now, before we go ahead and put the new EGR cooler on, we're going to give the exhaust flange a little bit of a cleaner-rooney, make sure it's nice and flat. And we have got brand new gaskets to go with it. Now remember, when you're fitting these gaskets, if the surfaces aren't flat and aren't clean, they're not going to do their job. And the chances are, in time, they possibly will leak. And that'll go for this side as well. We're going to give everything a little bit of a clean. Well, we're making a little bit of progress. Now, I have gone ahead, We've got the EGR valve cooler back on in place. We've bent that upstream pressure sensor pipe. It wasn't blocked, so win-win. Coolant pipes are connected, everything's nice and tight. I've got various little components to fit back to the vehicle. Get all the intake pipes on, put some fresh coolant in it, and I think we can get on the key and give it a little bit of a start. Right, well, there we go. That vehicle is now pretty much back together. All we've got to do is just put the engine cover on. But before I do, I want to get on the key, give it a big start, and make sure that we've got no leaks anywhere. Should we get on the key? I hope the battery's okay, because it's not the best. Oh, we just started. Everything now. Steve, can you just turn this off for us? Let's just see now if this little arm here moves. Switch it off. It should come back in a second when it loses its vacuum. It's not going to. It's holding the vacuum too well. We've got no leaks. Anyway, that little arm. Oh, I was planning on that coming back. That little arm has moved back. Now it's got vacuum. Right, well, I've started it back up and we're going to let it tick over. We're going to let it get up to temperature and make sure that the coolant level's okay, because we have disturbed the coolant level. Make sure that we've got no exhaust leaks from any of the gaskets or fixtures and fittings that we've touched. I'm just going to put it into a little bit of a time lapse and just show you the difference that it makes letting the air out of these tyres. It just makes so much difference, especially when they've been jacked up and stuff. But anyway, here we go. And just like that, that is one EGR cooler replaced on a Nissan Navara on a Saturday morning. And thank God that everything went nice and smoothly, unlike last night's video. But yeah, we're going to let this tick over now, get the temperature right up. I might even take it down the road for a little bit of a test drive and see how it drives. But generally, this is an absolute epic truck. Absolutely epic. But yeah, anyway, that is me done for the week. Next week is going to be just as busy. I've got that much stuff in. I don't even know. I think I've got a chain on something, a wet belt on something. You'll have to wait and see. You're going to have to wait and see. But anyway, if you've liked the video, please hit that like and subscribe. And no doubt that I will see you on the next video. Take it easy, have a mid-weekend, and let's get it sent.